Okay, you guys, so here I am trying to get ready for this video. I am all over the place today. I'm so sorry. I actually started recording and then as I was like looking in the camera and I'm like, oh my gosh, my forehead's really oily. And so I had to touch up and on camera, it does not look like oil. It looks like I was sweating. So I didn't want you guys to think that I come on here and just sweat all over my videos. Hi, you guys. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Lynn. I am a cosplayer. I like coffee. Caffeine makes me happy, mostly because tonight I am going to have a quite late night. I am going to Crypticon in Seattle to go watch their labyrinth-themed aerialist show, and I am very excited. This was actually an unprompted birthday present from someone. And then afterwards, I will be going to a concert in Seattle. So I am doing like a twofer tonight. I don't know when I will be home, but I do know caffeine is going to definitely be required. So I feel very awkward making this video. And to put it in perspective, it took me over 5 tries to talk about this subject. I kept talking about it, stopping, going back, changing my notes, talking about it, stopping, going back. And it was kind of funny because it started out as one topic. And as I sat there like scratching my head, I was like, this is why I can't talk about it, because it's actually not that topic. It is this very, very simple thing that keeps coming up. And that's why today I am going to deep dive into, has the cosplay community gotten mean? I am actually embarrassed to have to bring this subject up because I want to take you guys back in time a little bit. You need to know my past to understand why this makes me as angry as it does. So when I was younger, I was born in the 90s. I grew up loving Sailor Moon and Tokyo Mew Mew and Yu-Gi-Oh! And all the shows that were on American Kids TV. But I knew from a very young age, I did not fit in. I was very awkward. I was nervous. I was kind of shy, but like once you got to know me, I was really hyper. So I think that just kind of turned a lot of people off, And because my interests were always niche, I had a huge issue with being significantly bullied in elementary school and middle school. Middle school, it got better. I would say probably after like 7th grade, it got better. I started to kind of feel like, you know what, it's okay. I'm never gonna fit in, but like neither does like Lizzie McGuire, and she's really cool. So I switched mindsets at a certain age. But prior to that, people were very, very mean and very judgmental growing up. If you did not fit into the socially normal people, you weren't just ignored. You were like sought out to bully, and people would try to use you as fire to the like bullying flame, if that makes sense. I feel like nowadays bullying happens in a much different way, and it's more about being left out and cold-shouldered and ghosted and things like that. But growing up, bullying and having people be mean to you was terrifying because people would come after you over and over and over. You couldn't go off and even be on your own. You couldn't even enjoy the things you did without harming anyone. People would try to find you because it was a sense of entertainment for them to find people to bully and be mean to. So when I first started doing cosplay, I was 15 years old, and the reason why I fell in love with it so fast was because it incorporated a huge interest of mine, which was anime and manga, but I saw a group of people who accepted others and were kind and open and inclusive, and they were like, oh, you like magical girls? Come on in. Oh, you like shoujo comics? Come on in. Oh, you like niche horror Japanese shows and TV? Come on in. Like, they didn't care what you personally were into and if they knew about it or not. They were just like, you know what? We're all very odd here. We're all very not like socially accepted yet. And so we want to be the good guys. We want to like incorporate all of this good feeling and happiness and kindness to each other. So starting out in cosplay felt very less threatening than it does today. And when I really broke it down into this subject, I realized nothing has actually changed about the creation of cosplay. We have people from all levels, all skill sets, all backgrounds, all ages, all cultures all over the world. But what has shifted is the mindset of being mean to each other. And I want to deep dive into it today and talk to you guys about things that I have noticed going down in the community that I am like, what the hell is happening? As a quick note, I am not sponsored or affiliated with anyone or anything. I am not a cosplay judge. I am not a cosplay host. I don't get free badges and free stuff. So the nice thing about that is when I come on and talk to you guys, I'm going to say a very real, honest opinion. I'm not going to sugarcoat things. I'm not going to pretend everything is all happy and beautiful and unicorns. I am going to be honest with you guys, and I will swear, and I will say things that are like against the group's idea of how things actually are. And that is very weird for social media nowadays. And no, this video will not be super edited and like cool with lots of like cool cuts and backgrounds and stuff. That's not my style. I'm going to be talking. So if you want to hear someone talk, please watch. But I hope you stick around because this topic incorporates all of us and it is so much bigger than we realize and probably what you personally have seen. When we get down to the root of all this evil, I feel like social media plays such a huge part in it, and I will go into that. But I want to talk about some of the other categories that I'm noticing are affecting people to change their mindset of like, it's okay to kind of be mean in our community, which is not okay. So as everyone knows, cosplay is very different than it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, or when I started 19 years ago. It is just, the community is significantly different. First off, it is way bigger. When I started going to conventions, if you could even fill up 20 panel seats at a panel, that was considered amazing. The last time I went to SoccerCon, there were panels that had lines all the way down and around with wait lists to get in, and that was considered normal. So as you can see, it's just, there's way more of us, and people know about cosplay. It is socially accepted. How do I know it's socially accepted? It's relevant now. People not only know what cosplay is, they've seen cosplayers. There's merch being sold at stores of Studio Ghibli and anime. You go into any Hot Topic and your friend likes anime, you have 1,000 gift ideas you can get them. You can buy cosplay like in the stores now, which was not a thing in the early to mid 2000s. We also have a lot of media and shows and documentaries that either mention cosplayers, have cosplayers, or are centered on cosplay, like Heroes of Cosplay. There was also a really good documentary that came out, I think it was 2 years ago. You can find it on Amazon, but essentially it follows around a group of, I think, 5 or 6 cosplayers and what their life is like normally. It's very, very good. Heroes of Cosplay is fun and dramatic. That movie is, I think, way more eye-opening, and it feels like a breath of fresh air. Like, it's very real people with very real lives. I really like that. So when cosplay has changed, like the community has changed this much, the way that we treat each other should not be changing, because that is totally irrelevant. So the first thing I want to bring up is cosplay competitions. And this is so relevant after a very famous influencer in our community had a interview where she voiced opinions that were against what the groups think was. And the funny thing is, I didn't actually watch this interview right away. I heard about it, and the way people were talking about it, I thought, oh my God, someone got on camera and they were being racist, sexist, homophobic. They were like saying things against very specific people. Maybe they were calling people ugly, like doing something that was just like so out of control and a huge no-no. Then I went and watched her interview and realized all she did was voice an opinion about what she thought. And because people didn't agree with that opinion, people went on to cancel her or try to cancel her. And that scares me. That scares me a lot, because I think that, and the whole topic of this, you guys can watch it if you want. I'm not feeding fire to this flame. If people want to watch it or whatever, that's their choice. But I think it's stupid for everyone to need to have an opinion on everything. I think that's just dumb. Who cares if her opinion agrees with yours or not? But the bigger topic it brought up was cosplay competitions, because competitions have not always been as massive and pushed to the general population as they have now. Most of the influencers in our sphere are competitors, judges, or did competitions to get where they are now. So competition cosplay and influencer cosplay has gotten so enmeshed and there's so much gray area that I don't think people realize that cosplay competitions themselves are actually affecting our community's ability to get along with each other. This has caused so many issues amongst people. And what a sponsored cosplayer will tell you is, oh yeah, some people get their feelings hurt, and sometimes you do a competition, you don't place, and it's just really sad and it's heartbreaking. What they're not going to talk about is the majority of cosplayers that once they don't place in a competition, they use that as personal revenge against the judges, personal revenge against the other competitors, and they base most of their content in calling out people who have competed for whatever reason. I have never made a video needing to talk personally about another cosplayer. If they're brought up in my videos, I leave out names and titles and I kind of gloss over it because I don't think it's fair to personally attack someone. Like if there's an issue going on, it's probably a bigger issue than just them. I'll talk about the issue. But competition mindset essentially has people competing with their fellow cosplayers. And I hate this. I really, really hate this because it goes against the principles of everything I learned when I joined cosplay, which was we teach each other, we help each other, we are equals in this society. There is no one who is better than anyone else. We might do cosplay for different reasons. We might be different ages or, different ethnicities, but that doesn't make a difference between us. Like it is all equal when you get out to the sewing floor. You know what I mean? But the problem with cosplay competitions is that they are not fair and they are not for everyone, even though that's how it's endorsed. So when you endorse competing to even just your random fellow cosplayer, I think that's kind of mean because cosplay competitions, you have to have some really thick skin to do them. I know people say that it's about the creation, it's about how hard you work, it's about what you've learned, blah, 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 blah. Maybe sometimes, but I think the bigger issue is that what it comes down to, it's really a beauty competition. If it's not your face and your body, it is how beautiful is your costume, not how hard did you work on it. It is about how many followers do you have on social media. It is about how many judges do you know within your social circle or the web of social circles of cosplayers out there. And no one wants to talk about that stuff because that stuff is everyone knows this, but no one is going to bring it up. So what happens is we have these newer competitors coming in. They are fresh, excited. They are newer to cosplay competitions. They are ready to go all for it, pour their hard-earned money into it, use all their time to be creative and make things. And then they do a competition and they're like, I don't understand. I did everything right and I'm not placing, and people keep giving me really good feedback, but there's nothing to actually get better at. And every time I do get better at something, it doesn't matter. The problem is that competing is not about judging if you're a good cosplayer or getting validation for your costumes. If you do a competition, they're going to look for flaws and they're going to tear your costume apart, and you have to be prepared to handle that. I don't think most cosplayers who make an outfit and love it, they put it on, they're like, oh my God, I worked so hard on this. I learned so many techniques. I'm really proud. I love my pictures. I love this outfit. If there was no money or accolades or awards or anything involved, and someone was like, could I tear apart your costume and tell you everything you did wrong? Most people would be like, no. Why would you do that? That's so mean. In a competition, the judges will tell you what you did wrong. They will tell you what you could improve on. And most of that stuff is completely BS because from a creative standpoint, if I haven't done something, I know I haven't done it. And there's a reason why I chose not to do it that way. So I kind of don't really agree with that judging style. And I know a lot of judges will say, well, it gives them feedback so they know what to work on for the next competition. But here's the thing, even if they fix all of those things and they go on and they compete again and all those things are fixed, it still does not ensure that they will place at all. And I've done a whole video about why cosplay competitions are not fair. They have never been fair. They will never be fair. With the social media aspect, that also adds another layer now. So we now have influencer judges. We have people who are being asked to come judge cosplay competitions based on their number of followers online. And I know what you guys are thinking. You're saying, hey, but you know, they make really awesome costumes and they work super hard and like they're an amazing creator. They even released tutorials. Yes, that is true. But that's not why they're being invited to come judge. That is secondary to the fact that they're seen and they have social media and they're easy to follow and, you know, people know who they are. And I'm not trying to make anyone mad, but I am trying to be honest so you guys understand. So the competitions, really what it becomes is it's a social competition. And I know judges will say, you know, I don't look at their social media pages. I swear I don't go through them, but that is BS because the exact same judge who I heard talking about like, oh, I just look through their workbooks. I don't look them up on social media. I try to like leave that alone. Literally in one video, she said that. And then in the very next video, she said, well, I scroll through their social media to see if they have any like work in progress when they're making something. So I know it's made by them. So you just contradicted yourself then, because you can't say that social media is not a part of it, but then you're going to these people's social media to see, you know, do they have cool pictures? Do they have cool videos? Do they have all the like really nicely edited tutorials that they took with their very big expensive camera that they were sponsored and paid for? Like, it's a web that becomes so tangly and gross that it's just like you got to get out of it. If you are really talking about the cosplay community as a whole, yes, competitions are there, but they do not run our community. And if the like, let's say cosplay competitions, they decide, you know what, we've decided you do have to finish the inside of all of your seams, even the one we can't see. That is just like required. That affects the rest of the community because people take that as the word of like, oh, we have to do this now. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is the social media aspect itself and the fact that social media is so fake that people, they see how people react and treat each other online, and I think they are starting to actually incorporate that with how they treat people in person. People can't tell what's real. They can't tell what's fake. They can't tell what's sponsored. They can't tell what's affiliated. They can't tell what is managed by a group who manages 200 influencers. What they see is perfect costumes. They see perfectly worked on, amazing looking costumes 24/7. And that does something to your brain as a creator. For anyone who has ever been in a real life creative class, whether that is sculpting, sewing, painting, drawing, anything, costume design, you know that from real life, when you are working with your fellow students, there is so much more mess and chaos and trying things over and over and over and breaking things and messing up and switching how you're doing things. Like, it's not pretty. For anyone who has walked into any art studio, it is not pretty at all. And usually when you're doing something, there's been several versions and you're like on the very final version before you lose your mind. When you see social media creation, you are seeing the prettiest of tutorial pictures. You are seeing the prettiest work alongside me's. And I know people will say, well, I wasn't wearing makeup and I'm in sweatpants, my hair's up. And I'm like, that's great and all, but like, that's not what I mean. I mean, like, you set up your camera in a way that was flattering to see what you are making. You chose to spend a 4-hour block doing that. You are not being like, you know, having to switch your mindset because work came up or your family came up or you know, something happened and like your sewing machine broke and you're like, okay, great. Well, now I can't film this in a 4-hour block. So everything is very curated in a very certain way. And when people see things too perfectly, when they see something that is not perfect and is messy, their brain tells them that's wrong. That's incorrect. It shouldn't look that way. Whether you want it to or not, it's like an automatic response that you end up getting. And the other thing about social media is that when you see people being rude online and mean to each other and like disrespectful, it becomes normal. So instead of people being like, excuse me, but you need to like watch yourself, like that's not okay to say to someone, it becomes, well, they're just being helpful. Well, you are competing, and in the competition arena, like, yeah, they're gonna notice their seam wasn't finished. The other thing about this is I've noticed a lot of cosplay influencers' attitudes are just like, they suck. I brought it up in another video, but seeing someone have a temper tantrum online because they got invited to go to a con and the con wasn't paying them as much as other conventions do. Like they were going to pay for their badge, they were going to pay for their flight and then like a hotel or something, but they weren't going to pay for meals and extras and stuff like that. And this cosplay influencer having a total like breakdown over it and like trying to call it the convention, it was so embarrassing to watch. I had to like block that because I was like, I don't want to see this. It is embarrassing. It is just disgusting and rude. And the thing is, their followers start to be like, oh, it's okay to act like that. Like, it's okay to expect everyone to cater to me. And if I don't get what I want, I'm allowed to be like mean and rude and cancel people. Oh, well, yeah, then I'm going to do it. Whether they realize it or not, it is affecting them psychologically inside their brain. And the last part of this is that you will never get a real opinion, controversial or not, out of these people because their opinion also needs to be curated and pretty and align with the rest of the community. So if I say something on here, if I say I don't like cosplay competitions, I think they're dumb, okay, maybe like people will stop watching now, maybe they won't follow me, but the thing is I don't really care because I don't get paid for this or sponsored. It doesn't affect me. But if someone's a cosplay influencer and they say, yeah, I think that doing competitions doesn't make you any money, so you shouldn't do them and it's dumb, then people call them out. They lose half of their followers in a day, and because of that, they're making less money. So it affects their everyday real life. So social media, man, it is just causing us to be mean. It is causing us to have a lot of issues. So I think what I'm going to do is probably a part 2 to this video. There's a lot more I want to talk about, but I don't want to go too long. I really want you guys to like sit and listen to what I'm saying and not just glaze over, but really, really take it in and think about it. My challenge for you is I want you to go on your social media soon, tonight, tomorrow. And I want you to really watch those cosplay influencers, their content they release, and I want you to ask yourself, are these people inspiring me to be nice and kind and understanding and helpful in this community? Or are they feeding something inside of me that's actually making me a worse person in some way? I know that sounds very deep, but it's a good assignment. So anyways, I will see you guys back here again. Have a good night, guys. Bye.